Hey everybody, welcome to our first episode in what will be a series of episodes all about lead generation. And today we're focusing exclusively on outbound. What are the core ways that you can go out and find new business? What are some of the things to keep in mind? And what are some of the biggest mistakes you can make in each of those strategies? Let's get into it. I'm excited about this one today, you guys. This is a good episode, and I'm not just saying that because I've already attempted to record this episode once and realized it wasn't good enough and deleted the entire thing. I believe really strongly in the reality that there are a lot of ways to get leads in managed services. The truth is that they're very simple and very hard. And if you're willing to just kind of execute well on some of the principles we're going to talk about in this episode and in the future episodes about lead gen, you really won't run into a lead gen problem. You probably can generate conversations as fast as your operations team can onboard clients, given that you do everything we're talking about, doing it well, and commit to doing it over and over and over again. So let's talk about outbound. I should start with this simple preface that I don't believe in outbound versus inbound kind of rhetoric, or I should say I don't believe in sales versus marketing. It's a stupid way of thinking that the only people who talk that way are people who are trying to get clicks on the internet, or they're trying to sell you their specific product, okay? Anytime anybody says that a certain strategy or tactic is dead, SEO is dead, cold calling is dead, email is dead, if you read that on the internet, you are reading an advertisement. You are not reading a fact. You're reading an advertisement for the thing that person sells, okay? The truth is pretty much any way to get business is not dead in managed services. They don't all work as efficiently as one another for everybody in every market. But outbound is not dead. It's never going to die, okay? Never going to die. It's just going to evolve and change over time, okay? What are some of the main ways that we can go out to the universe and get strangers to know who we are and pay us for managed services? Well, let's start with the channels that we have at our disposal to create those connections. First, you can pick up the phone. Cold calling is, I stand by this, one of the most predictable ways of generating first-time appointments I've ever seen. And by predictable, I mean, I know how many days it will be until we book our next meeting with pretty good accuracy. I know how many calls it takes to book every meeting. I know how many calls we make every day. Therefore, I can pretty much predict within, I would say, 10% variance, I know how many meetings I'm going to book in a given month. Now, name any other strategy where you can say that month over month consistently. There's a reason, though, that I have that degree of confidence, and it's because I have a lot of data that I have ingested over time, and we've got a lot of reps on the phone. I've talked about Jacob many times. I got to have him on this podcast. He was my number one outbound guy in my MSP that I worked at when I was a VP of sales. Jacob booked 4 to 8 on-site consultations per month. So a consultation is our second touch. He ran all of the first touches for us. He probably had, 8 to 10 first-time appointments a month, 5 to 10. And the ones that were ready for an on-site, I would go on-site, and at least once a week, pretty much like clockwork, for 3 straight years. He booked me a meeting. He also made 100 phone calls a day. Now, this is where some of you are tuning out and you're going to go listen to another podcast. You're going to bail on me here. I'm not telling you, listener, that you need to stop what you're doing and make 100 phone calls today and every day. Here's the reality. There's a good chance that you do not have the chops to do that. And I'm saying that, I'm not trying to come at you. Most people don't. Okay? Frankly, most people don't. I do believe that you can learn cold calling. I don't believe that it's a temperament. I don't think, hey, the outbound is exclusive for extroverts and people who have no fear of rejection. Give me a break. Everybody in the world has fear of rejection. Fear of rejection is evolutionary, okay? We just have, certain people have figured out how to pivot their relationship to that fear and overcome that fear and learn to manage it, okay? But nobody likes getting rejected. It's not like I love it and it refills my tank. No, of course it doesn't. but I can pretty much get rejected infinitely without ever having to give up. And that is a skill that I had to develop. But it's not because rejection doesn't bother me. It's because getting bothered doesn't stop me from doing what I know I need to do. And it doesn't change my expectation that the next call is going to be successful. So what are some of the things you have to do to make cold calling successful? Well, we're dancing around it now. I mean, you need a certain degree of grit. You just do, but not in the way that you maybe have been told before. There's a lot of influencers out there. I'm debating if I want to say their names. Email me, I'll tell you what their names are, or catch me at one of our events. I'll tell you who I'm talking about. But you already know who I'm talking about. It is these high intensity, high testosterone, tight t-shirt, or French cuffed sort of try hard influencers who are trying to beat you over the head with a testosterone stick and say you should lift 500 pounds a day, and also you should talk to 10 billion people a day, and if it bothers you, then you suck at life and your spouse should leave you. They get so gnarly about it. And to be honest, I think the reason that people develop that type of relationship with a rejection is out of self-preservation, right? I mean, arrogance is just insecurity with a megaphone. So when somebody is really, really egotistical, really arrogant about outbound, they're just as scared as you are. They are just deflecting and masking to cover it. Instead of acting normal and tender and vulnerable and present like a normal human being, they're acting like all those other things. They're trying to disconnect from how they feel, which is not actually, I think, what makes you a good cold caller. Because then you play a weird character, you're less authentic, and frankly, you're just less likable, period. And if you're not likable, you have a very low chance of getting people on the phone to trust you and want to do business with you. So I think that the relationship we have to form, as I've said before, with the rejection is one where it no longer penetrates to the point of our sense of self. We have to appropriately categorize when people are not interested in what we're selling, that it actually has nothing to do with us as a person, us as a salesperson, or the quality of our product. It has everything to do with their actual or perceived lack of need. That's it. Selling is sorting. If I call 10,000 people, all I'm doing is putting them into 3 piles. You're interested in what I do. You're maybe interested in what I do. You're not interested in what I do. That's it. I'm simply sorting. That is an unemotional task. And if people get emotional by the fact that I reached out to them, well, that's completely up to them. I'm not in control of what that person feels. I'm not in control of how that person chooses to respond to me as a sales professional. I'm not in control of how much time they choose to give me. What I am in control of is how I respond to whatever they say. Okay? If you can take this approach, this sort of a stoic approach, I suppose, in some ways, but it's a self-aware approach, then you don't have to harden, all right? You don't have to crystallize into this emotionless, testosterone-driven, or frankly, shame-driven lunatic. You don't have to turn that way. You can just be normal, likable, present, even kind, and you can still be bulletproof, okay? So that's that grit that I'm sort of talking about. It's really more about resilience. You need to be a resilient person. The difference between, of course, resistance and resilience, as I've said many times, is resistance is something's ability to hold its shape against opposition. Rebar is very resistant. Oak trees or evergreen trees, very resistant. They have hard wood, and that's how they hold up against the rain and the winds of the Pacific Northwest. Versus a palm tree. Palm tree is very resilient. Resilience is something's ability to, in the face of being bent out of shape from an opposing force, come back into its shape. That's what a palm tree does. Palm trees can take lots and lots of wind, and they don't need to have super deep roots because there's a lot of water deep down. They have bulbs that stay up by the surface, but the wind comes and the palm trees sway in the wind because the wood of a palm tree is much more flexible. And that's how they stay resilient. Those are two totally different approaches to strength. I don't want you to be resistant to opposition. I want you to be resilient to opposition, because opposition is inevitable and you have no control over when it comes or how much of it comes. You only have the control over how you respond to it. That's how you keep up high numbers consistently without sales being emotionally draining. That's the number one skill you have to develop. I could probably do a whole series actually on developing sales resilience. In fact, email me. If you want a series on that, just shoot me an email, leave me a comment on this podcast and say, talk more about how to stay resilient. I'm happy to talk more about that. That's a topic I'm passionate about, but it's not something that we plan on getting into today. Once you have that resilience in place, you need to actually start developing the craft of cold calling. Cold calling is about managing conversations in a series of seconds. You have to win exchanges over and over again. I should say win another way. You have to pass checkpoints over and over again, and every single checkpoint is the only thing that matters to you. There's those great movies. Did you see that movie Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise? Or, any movie where somebody has a day that they have to live over and over again. What's the other one? You know it, Groundhog Day, where a cold call is kind of like Groundhog Day in a way, or kind of like Edge of Tomorrow in a way, where you're going to get on the phone and the truth is they're going to open and say, who is this? What do you want? You have to win that checkpoint, right? You have to pass that checkpoint, get to the next beat in the conversation. We have to pass that checkpoint and the next beat and the next beat and the next beat. But once you start to develop the ability to win one checkpoint at a time, your conversations, you'll go farther and farther and farther on your average conversation. And soon, you're not getting stuck at the gate every single time because you know how to handle the beginnings of conversations. You know to get deeper and deeper into them. The quality and length of your conversations will go up as you develop those skills. That's a whole other series we could have. I should have Jacob on to talk about some of the practicals. But for starters, don't think of gatekeepers as something to get over or overcome. A gatekeeper is your ally. Your gatekeeper is your key to any decision maker in that organization. Don't think of them as a hurdle to jump over. Think of them as a friend to develop. That's going to help you a lot. And not that we need another metaphor, but I used to describe it when I was training sales guys early on with making cold calls. It's like, because you can't slow down a cold call. You can't say, wait a minute and flip through your binder to find the response to the objection they give you. You've got to respond in real time. So it's like running through a maze in the dark. You can't stop running and you can't turn on the lights. So you just have to get really good at feeling relationally where you are next to all the walls and sort of memorizing the maze the best you can, so that when you start over on a new call, you start at the beginning of the maze again and you go 4 steps, then turn right, 3 steps, wait a second, then turn left, and you develop that cadence over time. I'm telling you, once you figure this out, you're going to realize that there's only like 4 ways that a conversation can go, and it's always going to be one of those 4 ways. You get good at managing those 4 different paths, you're going to get better and better at making cold calls. Let's move on. That's what it's like to pick up the phone. And once you're doing that, you need to be consistent, of course. Call the right types of people. Call them enough. If you're making less than 25 calls a day, you're not cold calling. Our guys would make 100 calls a day. People now doing parallel dialers or power dialers making 150, 250 calls a day. That's gnarly, okay? But if you can't book a meeting a week with the amount of calls you're making, then you need to make more calls. Okay, you need to make more calls. Get yourself to a meeting a week. That's a good benchmark for cold calling. Okay, so you're making the calls, or maybe you're not making the calls. You don't have the energy. You're not going to do it. You say, Brian, I'm going to tell you where you can shove those 100 calls a day. No problem. Let's move on to the next channel, which is going to be email. There's a difference between email prospecting and email marketing. See our amazing episode with James Milsom from hunter.io, where he talks all about the difference between those two things. Email prospecting is just asynchronous cold calling. Same idea. You get a little bit longer in a way because you're writing it out, so you don't speak the same way that you write. But email prospecting is the same principle as cold calling. You are getting in front of somebody who doesn't know you, and you're giving them a shot to listen to the hook of why you might be able to help them. Same kind of ideas, okay? What's cool about email prospecting is you can do it a little bit more efficiently in a way, in that you're still writing one-to-one emails, but it doesn't burn as many calories to send an email as it does to pick up the phone and talk to a person. So you should be able to do, 25, 40 great handwritten emails a day. There's great tools out there that can help you do a little bit of research on their industry or on their company. Lots of AI resources to sort of help you do that if you'd like to. And there's a bunch of those tools that work, like the email distribution platforms or the prospecting platforms or the go-to-market platforms, that can grade your email based off of open rates and stuff like that. What I'm going to say about email prospecting is that you got to make sure that you are still measuring by the amount of meetings you're booking, or the amount of positive responses is your first metric. Open rates, that metric means nothing. It's basically completely antiquated at this point because of the way that email security works. How many people are opening your email? You don't really know, because most email security, as you guys know, fires that email early, clicks all the links, makes sure there's nothing bad, and then feeds it to the viewer, right? And if your email platform could actually tell the difference between a spam filter opening your email and a human opening your email, then that means that spam filter would be effectively useless at stopping a threat, right? If the threat could tell where the email security is, it could get around it. All that means is that the open rates are not a reliable fact, or frankly, clicks on specific links. So you want to look at positive replies and meetings booked. If you're not getting, 2-3% positive replies, then there's something wrong. You should be able to get higher than that on your email prospecting. So yeah, send out 100, 150, 200 messages or emails in a week. You should be able to get several positive replies, 5, 6, 7 positive replies, and at least one of those should be able to convert to a meeting. If you're not doing that, then you need to start split testing different email formats, making sure your data is clean, all that kind of stuff. Just keep iterating over and over again, and I promise you it will work. The main thing with all outbound is that you've got something of value to lead with, okay? Just simply asking for an IT assessment, it's not very effective at outbound. Granted, that's what we did on the cold calls, and we still got all the messages we got, but if I could go back now, I think I would develop a lower ticket offer or some sort of more exciting risk assessment, a cyber score, use somebody like Mike from Iceberg to get his cyber score in place, send him a book, send him a calculator, vibe code, a really cool tool that you can give away for free. That's a quality of life thing that can help people's boot up be faster or better. I don't know. Create something that you can give them to lead with and then let them play with it for a little while and kind of get into your funnel from there and then start getting nurtured by the rest of your marketing efforts down the road. That's the ideal way to go. But if you don't have any of that infrastructure in place, just ask for a meeting. Hey, this is Brian from All Star IT Company. Is this a bad time? I know you weren't expecting me. This call is totally out of the blue. But if you give me 30 seconds, I'll tell you why I called you. And if it's of no interest, you can slam the phone on me. What do you think? Then you get into your hook. Thanks again for the time. Again, we're an IT support company. We specialize in helping accountants get more out of their people so they don't have to try to automate people away with AI. And we help them stay secure working from anywhere. So you could work anywhere in the world and keep anybody anywhere you want without ever having to compromise any security or take any risks that you might have to then share with your clients. In fact, there's an accountant right down the road from you in Toledo that we helped get 40% more efficiency out of their accountants, where they were able to handle way more returns with the exact same amount of people simply because of some stuff that we put in place. So I'm curious, does any of this sound relevant to you? Now that's how I would say it on a cold call. In an email, I might draft it a little bit differently and then always lead with a PS or something. Hey, PS, I've got this case study. I've got this thing here. Would you like me to send over more info about it? Easy peasy, right? Come on, guys. I'm basically giving you the leads here. So that's what emailing can look like. I want to talk about maybe one, maybe two more channels. I want to talk about events, okay? We could do a whole episode as well on events, but networking is a good place to start. If you're not doing any networking right now, you should really seriously consider it, okay? It's a relationship sale. We all know that. And you should at least be building relationship with referral partners. So if you know people who are more likely to refer you, call them cabling companies might refer you. Maybe even some tax strategists and advisors might refer you. Maybe some operations consultants, if a fractional COOs might go in and support your types of clients, and they might want to bring in their own vendors as recommendations. Then if I were you, I'd be going to conventions where tax strategists go. Go to conventions where fractional COOs go. Get EOS integrators and EOS implementers. Start sending them all baskets of goodies and saying, I'm an IT company. I love what you're doing for businesses in the community. Can we have 10 minutes to talk about how we help businesses, how we might be able to transform IT costs for your clients and be one more arrow in the quiver that you get to bring new added value to all of your clients? Then go and set up referral relationships with them. So you could go to networking events and you could network with referral partners, which is a much easier conversation to have without having to go to where your end clients are. That's a pretty good idea. Next, of course, is the obvious stuff. Go to where other business owners are. Go to chamber lunches. Go to BNI stuff. Go to Provisors, whatever. If you don't like those networking groups, go to business owner golf tournaments. Go to mixers. Go to the community center, business speed dating stuff. I don't care. Go where business owners are and tell them what you do. It's just like cold calling, only it's a little bit more efficient because you're there and they're all sort of captive audience. And it's a really good way for you to improve your confidence talking about your service and clear up your talk tracks to explain what you do to specific people in specific instances. So, example, you could tell an accountant, I don't remember what I said earlier, I'm sure it was great, but whatever I said earlier about, hey, this is a use case of how we help accountants improve their quality of life. Instead of just saying we do the technology good, we manage the network, we put an RMM on your computer, and then we put antivirus on your computer, explaining how you make the sausage. You just explain a little bit more through the outcomes that you can deliver for that type of business. Then you want to practice those talk tracks, get good at saying them, say them in the mirror, say them into a video, record it, watch yourself back, get more confident, then start going to these events. Folks, I don't see a world where you commit to at least one of these things for 6 months and you don't get any new conversations. I just don't see that world. One of the biggest arguments I hear from people against outbound is they say outbound doesn't work for managed services because it's a relationship sale. Okay. How do you think people make friends? How do you think people form relationships? They go meet people. That's what outbound is. It's relationship development at scale. I'm not telling you to do a crappy job of it so you can do it faster, but there's nothing stopping you from doing a good job and doing a lot of it, okay? Go to as many events as you have the capacity for. The more you do, the better you'll get at it. The more confident you'll be. The more confident you are, the more effective they'll be. If you want to get better and you don't want to blow this networking event that's coming up and you know that you only get 2 of these a year and you don't want to waste it, make 500 cold calls first. Make 25 calls a day for 20 days leading up to the event so that you have more confidence and more practice talking about it. Develop these skills in yourself, and outbound can and will help you. What else do we need to talk about? We've talked about cold calls. We've talked about email. We've talked about events. There's plenty more to outbound, but I think what I want to do is pause here because this is probably enough information for you to noodle, at least for now. But I really want to know, are you doing any of these things? What have you had the most success with? And alternatively, what have you tried that didn't work? And I want you to tell me, email me, brian@feelgoodmsp.com. Just email me. Tell me why you think it didn't work, okay? I would love to start answering more questions from you guys. We've got lots and lots of listeners now who are starting to send me DMs that you're getting great help out of the podcast. I super appreciate hearing that. But hey, send me a DM on LinkedIn or send me an email. As I said, brian@feelgoodmsp.com. Say, hey, I want you to talk about this because I tried this thing you said and it didn't work. Or I've heard so-and-so from another person and I want to hear your take on it. Anything you want me to address, let me know. But what we're going to do is in a future episode, there's going to be at least one more episode with an interview between now and then. But in a future episode, I might bring on a guest and we'll talk a little bit about some of the inbound stuff you can do. And then I probably will do a third episode as well where we talk about how inbound and outbound can support each other, how they're actually very synergistic and all that kind of thing. What do you think? Did we do it? All right. So I gave you the invitation to send me a question. I got one more thing I'm going to say to you before we wrap this episode. And yes, I'm talking to you right now. You're driving, you're doing dishes, you're on your way to a job. I'm talking to you. I've given out, I don't know, we're coming up on 30 episodes, probably over 20 hours, right around 20 hours of content I've given you 100% for free. It's been an absolute delight. Sincere delight. I haven't advertised anything. I think I did one plug for my book. By the way, I'll give you another one. You should go buy my book. I'm really excited about my new book that just came out. But what I want to say to you is this. Have you gotten anything of value out of the last 20-ish hours of content that I have given you ad-free, ask-free? If so, would you humbly consider just leaving me a review? Wherever you listen to this podcast, how many stars does it deserve? I don't even care how many you put, but what would be even more helpful is if you go in there and write why you left it that review. If it's 3 stars, fine. So yeah, he's a little yappy, but he has some good ideas here or there. Fine, that's what I really want to know. The reason I'm asking you for this, my friend, is that there's a lot of podcasts out there, and it really helps people know at a glance, is this something I should invest my energy into, yes or no? If you wish you had found this podcast sooner, then I'm talking to you. If you're going, wow, I wish I knew about this way before. I've been wasting so much time trying and I got these new ideas and it's helping me. Then less people would say what you just said if people like you would leave me a review. Okay, that's my hard sell. I know. I appreciate you all. Appreciate everything that you're doing. I believe in you more than you believe in you. Thanks for sticking with me today. We'll see you in the next one.